All right, I'd like to bring up on stage at this time our colleague Abdellah, who is the Partnership Manager for Smart City, and his presentation on From Strategy to Execution, Why Smart Cities and Sustainable Initiatives Still Struggle to Scale. Abdellah, please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me correctly? Yeah. Well, I did my master's degree back in 2021, and honestly, I wasn't imagining myself coming to your room right now to just tell you why this is not scaling up. I know it's the last session, so I'm going to make it quick for everyone, but please, also, I'm going to ask for your help later on. There are many different ways we have to analyze. First of all is the policy ambition. We know that Europe wants to be climate neutral by 2050, okay? They are doing many things. They are getting funds, they're getting a lot of activities to get that. But what are we doing? There are many things missing out. There is a shared ownership that is not happening at the moment. Also, there is an execution discipline. Sometimes we analyze smart cities only as a one sector, but there are several sectors into the one of smart city, and we're not putting together everything in the same spot. Right now, I believe that cities are the place that execution becomes real. Why? A big and clear example. Berlin, 33 years after reunification. Chris Hadfield, a Canadian astronaut, back in 2013, so 33 years after reunification, took this photo. Maybe you guys cannot see it correctly, but if you check east and west, there's a huge difference. 33 years went on from the reunification, but still the bulbs used in the right and the left, in the east and the west of Berlin are different. At the end, implementation has to be for cities. We didn't do a good job if 33 years after we're still using a different system. I want you, in your experience, to scan this QR code and give me a clear answer. What have you guys seen is usually killing a promising pilot? I gave you several options as no clear owner after the pilot, stakeholders alignment, weak business model, procurement slows deployment, the solution is not integrated into operations, or the funding ends before the scaling. Please, if you can scan the QR code. Can you guys put the Mentimeter? Thank you. You guys can still scan over there and answer. You will see different answers. Maybe you guys have a different answer than the 7 that I would give you. But if we analyze those answers, none of them are about technology at all. All of them mean different blanks that we left in the process, but none of them is about technology. Get back, please, to the presentation. So basically, a pilot can be super successful. The report can be positive. The stakeholders can agree that it was useful, but still, nothing scales. And I've risen the question, like, what is happening? Why is not being scaled? There are different questions that we need to ask ourselves to understand why a model is not scaling up. Who decides about the model? Who is accountable? Who pays after the pilot? And even who runs it at scale? These 4 layers, if they are not designed early, we're losing already. What's the urban outcome? So let's all of you imagine a pilot. Every single actor in the city have their own outcome. The outcome of the city is not the same one as the technology provider, it's not the same one as the citizens, It's not the same one as the policy regulator. So do we actually agree on our outcomes, or everyone is fighting their own battle? We sign models of understanding. We also create different consortia. We launch pilots. We announce collaboration. But at the end, who owns the outcome? Who carries the risk? Who has the authority to decide? And even who pays after the pilot? I will show you later on, but you will see that partnerships often fail at the moment they become real, because everything that you were imagining and thinking about was not a partnership, but a pilot only. For me, this is the execution-led partnerships that we need to do differently. If we aim to run a pilot, we're not going to get a big change into a city. We need to go to solve a strategic priority. Also, when we go to success metrics, we see that in many projects, we are basically getting the activity outcomes. And we don't need that. We need to understand not only the pilot, but what's going to happen after the pilot. It's more about the outcome metrics than the activity itself. When we talk about governance, we can see that there are many voices, but no owner. If the ownership is not clear, as I said before, nothing scales up. What about data? Sometimes it's an optional add-on, but do you think with all the IoTs that we have, all the data that we have right now, it should be an add-on, or it has to be structured from the beginning? The business model. Sometimes it's discussed after the pilot, but we've seen that if we discuss the business model after the pilot, the business model wasn't itself as a business model. It was just a pilot, and we'll just try it out. Let's see what goes. The time horizon. In a pilot, you have a short-term project, but when you have a big project, you need to scale ready the roadmap. For me, I was thinking of 3 different questions that we need to ask ourselves. Who owns the pilot if it works? Who pays after the pilot? And also, what changes operationally in a city? If these questions are not answered before the pilot, we're done. We're just going to be having a pilot that will last whatever months with whatever budget, but it won't scale. I was quick, I know, but this is for me, execution is not a phase, but we need to think about it since the beginning. We need to build partnerships that can survive reality. And thank you for your attention today.